Michael, give us Michael, give us Michael, give a smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Give us Michael, give us Michael, give us Michael, give a smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Give us Michael, give us Michael, give a smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, be the reason someone smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, give us Michael, give a smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, 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 simba. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Simba, gedola, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, Give us Michael, give us Michael, give us Michael, give a smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Give us Michael, give us Michael, give us Michael, give a smile. Give us Michael, give us Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, lio, simba. Simba, gedola, lio, simba. Give us Michael, give us Michael, Gebash Michael, give a smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, be the reason someone smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, give a smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, be the reason someone smile. Simba, Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba, Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba, Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba, Gedola, Leo, the Simba. Simba, Gedola, Leo, 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 the Simba. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Simba Gedola, Leo the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo the Simba. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, give a smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, give a smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, be the reason someone smiles. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, the Simba. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, give a smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, be the reason someone smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, give a smile. Gebash Michael, Gebash Michael, be the reason someone smile. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, the Simba. Simba Gedola, Leo, 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 the Simba.
Breakfast with Elli.
מודה אני לפניך מלך חי וקיים שהחזרת בי נשמתי בחמלה רבה אמונתך.
My guest today is Rabbi Dr. Binyamin Abrams, a scientist, professor, and rabbi, whose story is all about curiosity, courage, and finding truth in unexpected places. From chemistry labs to the world of Torah, his journey will make you see how intellect and faith don't just coexist, they actually strengthen each other.
I found out by many years later that amongst the people who interviewed me, the fact that I came dressed the way it's very clear, and they knew that this is how a Hasidic person, a Jewish person dresses, that I wasn't afraid to be who I was, actually played a huge role in me not only getting offered the job, but them acceding to my many requests. And so I think it's exactly the opposite. When a person is proud of who they are, people respect that.
והשם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי ותמיד יהיה לי רק טוב. השם יתברך תמיד אוהב אותי ותמיד יהיה לי ויהיה לי עוד יותר טוב ועוד 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 יותר טוב ותמיד יהיה לי רק ויהיה לי
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Ellie. It is Tuesday, Season 8, Episode 17. Yom Shukvui Tov, the day that Hashem said twice it is good. The 13th day of Cheshvan, the 4th day of November. It is Election Day in many cities across the United States today. A huge election in New York. I urge you to go out and vote. Not telling you who to vote for, but you need to go out and vote. All right? It's important. It really is important. And what can I tell you? The fate of New York may hang in the balance of today's election. It's really crazy out there. The Torah portion is Vayeira, HaYom, Yom Shlishi l'Shabbos, the third day, counting up toward Shabbos, be learning the third Aliyah. As I said, Election Day, and it's an important election. So no matter who you vote for, go out and vote, unless you're voting for the wrong candidate. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. All right. Let us get ready. Men and boys, take your two front sitters. Everyone else, please join us in the second bracha. Let's go. Morning davening. Here we go. Come on. Really?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhma uvaravo nekavim chalulim גלוי וידוע לפני כיסא כבודך שאם יסתם אחד מהם או אם ייפתח אחד מהם אי אפשר להתקיים אפילו שעה אחת ברוך אתה אדוני רופא כל בשר ומפליא לעשות ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו על דברי תורה הריני מקבל עלי מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way
Torah, 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 Tziva lanu Moshe, Morasha kehilas Yaakov, Morasha kehilas Yaakov, Morasha kehilas Yaakov, Torah Tziva lanu Moshe.
All right. The tzedakah has been given.
Put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki, the tzedakah box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
Okay, fantastic. We seem to be having some streaming issues on a couple of platforms. So bear with me as I try to resolve them and work through this. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I will figure it out in due time here. All right, it is time for us to say the Shema. All right, take your right hand and place it over your eyes.
What you just heard is called Bakashot, ancient songs from the Jews of Aleppo, still sung before dawn on Shabbos, right here in the heart of Nachlaot.
Join us on a mission to say Shema in front of every single shul in the whole world. Here we are at the famed Adis Shul.
The synagogue was established in 1901 by Jewish immigrants from Syria who settled in Jerusalem's Nachlaot area. The Syrian community had notable merchants and craftsmen who chose to build a proper synagogue rather than temporary prayer rooms. Its design reflects traditional Middle Eastern synagogue architecture. High ceilings, wooden benches facing each other, a woman's gallery, and a large Aron HaKodesh covering the entire eastern wall. The Aron HaKodesh is made out of beautiful walnut wood, intricately carved and inlaid with mother-of-pearl and oyster shells. In 1912, artist Yaakov Stark painted murals inside the synagogue depicting the 12 tribes of Israel, other Jewish symbols, and a unique blend of Arabic calligraphy, Hebrew text, and Art Nouveau motifs. Over the past century, the building suffered damage and the artwork was neglected. A major restoration of the murals and other interior features was completed in 2015. The Adis Synagogue is one of the few places in Jerusalem where the tradition of Bakashot is still fully maintained. The synagogue also became the center of Syrian Chazanot in Israel. So when you're buying candy at the shuk, don't be shy. Walk a few blocks and step inside this beautiful synagogue.
Baruch Shem kevod malchuto leolam vaed.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
All right, and that brings us to our breakfast, coffee and yogurt. Ooh, I got my apple cinnamon one today. I'm very excited. Are you ready? We're going to make a bracha shahakol. Borach ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shahakol nehiyah bidvoroi.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
Absolutely marvelous. Absolutely marvelous. All right. Today in Jewish history. Mashiv Haruch and Morida Geshem. Don't forget. Okay. All right. Today, in 1210, the Jews of England were all imprisoned by King John. I know. Can you imagine? In 1533, many copies of the Talmud were publicly burned in Venice under the order of Cardinal Peter Carafa, the future Pope Paul IV. Pope Julius III approved the action. And in 1760, the first prayer book, Jewish prayer book, Sidur, was printed in America. 1760. In 1939, the Nazi regime prohibited ritual slaughter, shchita, in Poland, citing humanitarian grounds. Anne Frank was deported from Auschwitz to Bergen-Belsen, where she died 5 months later on this date in 1944. And today's the anniversary of Superstorm Sandy, which made landfall in New Jersey in 2012. We were in Provincetown. That's right. We had gone to P-Town for a long weekend. We got stuck there for a week. The storm and its aftermath were responsible for 182 deaths in the United States and 286 overall. It was the second costliest hurricane in United States history, with damages over $68 billion. Wow. The storm became the largest Atlantic hurricane on record as measured by diameter, with winds spanning 1,100 miles. Is that crazy stuff? I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's the stuff of horror movies. I know, crazy. All right, HaYom Yom for today, the 12th day of Cheshvan.
HaYom Yom, thoughts for the day, 12th of Mar Cheshvan. Didn't go to Hebrew school? Can't read the prayers, don't even like the taste of gefilte fish? You're a Jew. That is why you instinctively know Hashem. A child need not be taught to love his mother. He simply does, as she loves him. It's simply... HaYom Yom, thoughts for the day, 13th of Mar Cheshvan. What an odd combination in today's entry. First, a description of the Baal Shem Tov's genius, followed by a peculiarly specific forewarning of a basic prohibition against gossip. Perhaps the lesson is, don't think you're so smart that your rationale for tale-bearing is justified. You're not that smart. Certainly not more than the Baal Shem Tov. So if you think you will get away with it, you won't. If you think you have valid basis for sharing this juicy tidbit, you probably don't. So think twice and 3 times before you say it, and then don't say it anyway.
This is a prayer that we're very familiar with. Shema Yisrael, hear O Israel, Hashem Elokeinu. Hashem is our God. We're very familiar with this, but do we really understand what we're saying? Hashem is our God. I mean, Hashem and Elokeinu appear to be 2 words, 2 names for the same being, for Hashem. So Hashem is our God and God is Hashem. What's the big idea here? What's the big statement? I'm sure you've seen disclaimers like this on emails that you get. All information in this email, including attachments, is strictly confidential and intended solely for delivery to and authorized use by the addressees identified above. If you are not the intended recipient, and on and on and on. Why do people put this stuff at the end of their emails? Because your lawyer will advise you that if you communicate a message to somebody and that person then forwards that message to a third party, that could ultimately come back to hurt you. Today's HaYom Yom presents us with some good advice, something to think about before you hit send on that email and before you even open up your mouth. Says today's HaYom Yom, the Baal Shem Tov used to teach his disciples a shir of Gemara. He would study Talmud with his disciples regularly. The Baal Shem Tov's style of study was very sharp, and the presentation of the Gemara and the commentaries was with great brilliance. When they reached the segment, the passage of the Gemara that discusses Lashon Hara, slander, the Baal Shem Tov explained the following. He said, based on the Gemara, he says, after hearing slander, after hearing gossip, when you go ahead, or when somebody goes ahead and repeats that gossip to a third party, this has negative influence. The Baal Shem Tov calls it spiritual death. You inflict spiritual death upon 3 parties. So when somebody repeats slander that they've heard in the past to another person, the spiritual death comes to 3 people. The person who repeats that gossip, the person listening to the gossip, and also the author, the person who originally produced that gossip. It reflects badly. Those extremely negative consequences reflect back on that person too. So if you send a message or say something not nice, even though once you send it, once you say it, it's no longer in your domain. You no longer have control of if and how many times that message gets passed along again and again and again, but that doesn't matter. Even though it's out of your domain in the sense that you can no longer control that information. It's now out there, but it's still very much tethered to you in the sense that every time it gets passed along, that sense of responsibility, that negative energy reflects back at you again and again and again. Now, I'm thinking that the same would hold true for the positive as well. So if you send out a tweet or an email with a positive, inspiring Torah message, for example, and then whoever received that message from you then forwards it, passes it along to another person and another person, another person. Before you know it, it goes viral. Every time another person studies or learns something or is inspired to do something good, even though it's indirect, right? You don't even know that person, just by virtue of the fact that it comes as a chain effect from something that you started, it's always tethered to you. And somebody on the other side of the world that you don't even know can learn something or do something positive, and that positive energy and the blessings associated with that mitzvah reflect back on you.
That is pretty cool. Sorry about those glitches. I don't know what's going on. Trying to figure it all out. All right. Now a word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com, trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group, micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565 and order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids, beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign at gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications, logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and you can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Helping lots of people any way we can. Tzedakah is the Jewish way to help your fellow man.
All right, if you would like to help us, pay our expenses, scan this handy QR code, which will take you to breakfastwithelli.live/support, or you can go to support us at patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi. Supporting us does a double mitzvah. It brings Torah around the world, and you get credit for people learning Torah, and you're giving tzedakah at the same time.
Torah, 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 Torah. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 tziva lanu Moshe.
All right, we are doing our Torah overview for Parshas Vayeira. And since, as we know, the name of every Parsha embodies the essence of its content, the essence of each of the two phases of Avram's life must be reflected in the name of the Parsha describing that phase. The event that divides Avram's life into two distinct spiritual periods is his bris. That's what we talked about. It's true that Hashem appeared to Avram 3 times in Parshas Lech Lecha, but these appearances were veiled and vague in comparison to his appearances in this week's Parsha, Vayeira. The reason for this is straightforward enough. Until his bris, Avram's progress, as we said, was limited by the constraints of his own human nature. He could only go as far as his own mind and heart could take him. It was therefore impossible for Hashem to reveal himself to Avram directly. Avram could only experience Hashem through the prism of his own being. So what was it about bris, circumcision, that changed all of this? What was it that enabled Avram to transcend the limitations of his own humanity and experience a direct revelation of Hashem? Well, first of all, bris was the first commandment that Avram observed in response to Hashem's explicit directive. The Torah and its traditions were known even before Avram's time, and Avram fulfilled them faithfully to the best of his ability. But his observance was voluntary, and therefore lacked the self-effacing humility implicit on a servant compliant with the will of his master. And this is precisely why Avram didn't circumcise himself before Hashem called upon him to do so. Even though he observed the rest of the Torah's commandments, since circumcising oneself, unlike all the other mitzvahs, can only be performed once. Once he did a bris on his own, he'd never be able to do so in compliance with a explicit directive from Hashem. So, by circumcising himself in response to Hashem's explicit command, Avram entered into an entirely new type of relationship with Hashem. By nullifying his own will before Hashem's, Avram attained a level of self-effacement he could never have achieved beforehand. His own ego could now dissolve and cease to interpose between Hashem on the one hand and his own mind and heart on the other. Yet, although bris was only one of the Torah's commandments that Hashem had specifically commanded Avram to fulfill, he commanded him to do other things before this, such as Lech Lecha, leaving his father's home, and moving to Eretz Yisrael, Asher Arecha, the land that I will show you. Traveling through the land, performing the rites associated with the Bris Ben Habsarim, the covenant between the halves. In each case, Avram always heeded Hashem's word. So what was it about bris in particular that brought Avram to this high level of selflessness? Well, the answer to this question may be found in the way Hashem phrased his command to Avram to circumcise himself. My covenant shall be in your flesh. Bris, circumcision, is unique among all the commandments in that it alters the body itself, the only time we are ever allowed to do that. The body's very flesh becomes a concretization of Hashem's will. As we saw, bris granted Avram control over his erotic drive. Thus, through bris, the body can join the mind's self-effacement before Hashem, and in this way, he also ceases to be an impediment in the individual's relationship with Hashem. And we'll pause there for today, finishing off tomorrow. In the third Aliyah, remember those 3 angels that came to visit Hashem? Well, they arrive in the city of Sodom, and Lot, invites them into his home to eat and rest. Uh-oh. Word of Lot's guests spreads throughout the city, a city that abhorred all acts of kindness, and the incensed residents of Sodom surround Lot's house with intent to assault the guests. Lot refused the demands that he surrender his guests, and as the residents of Sodom prepare to break down the door, the angel struck all those surrounding the house with blindness. The angels informed Lot of their mission and encouraged him to flee. Thankfully, Lot and his wife, his two of his daughters, were escorted out of the city to safety and were warned not to look back as the city was being destroyed. Oh, and there we are. Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Afson to explain Lot the judge, Lot the host, Lot the creep, Lot the negotiator, Lot the undeserving, Lot the unworthy father of 4 girls, only 2 of whom left with him.
Jewish audio on Chabad.org.
The third Aliyah in the Parsha Vayeira unpacks the story of the destruction of Sodom. Yesterday we concluded with Avram's petition, defense in front of Hashem. Eventually he realizes he doesn't have a chance, there's no righteous people to defend the land, and Avram finishes his presentation. And now the 2 angels were walking slowly, they arrived in Sodom in the evening. The Torah refers to the angels as angels now rather than men, because A, Hashem does not speak in this part of the narrative, so there's no need to imply that relative to him, angels are mundane as men. And 2, Avram was as accustomed to being visited by angels as he was by men. Lot, on the other hand, was not. So Lot was sitting at the gate of Sodom. He had been appointed that very day as the chief judge, and the court was located at the gate of the city. And he was also on lookout for guests, because ultimately Avram had trained him in the art of hospitality, and he was doing his part to keep that tradition alive. Now, although Lot was neither one of the founders of Sodom nor a member of its elite, its inhabitants realized that being a relative of Abraham, he would most likely be able to give impartial judgments, because Abraham was known as a fair, decent individual. Lot saw the angels and rose up to greet them. He says, I perceive that you are strangers, and I would like to invite you to be my guests and to serve you as if you were my masters. But now, my lords, be aware that this city is inhospitable to guests, so I strongly encourage you to be careful. Therefore, please turn aside and take a round route to your servant's house, and no one will notice you entering. Spend the night, bathe your feet, wake up early, continue on your way. It would be an insult to me if you don't come over. Now, interesting, Avram, if you remember, when he saw the angels, first told him to wash their feet, because at that time many pagans served the dust on their feet. Lot didn't care about that. He actually wanted their feet to remain dirty, so that, first of all, he didn't care that they were pagans, and also he could tell the people of Sodom, these people just came by, and I wasn't hosting them. They replied, no, we will spend this night in the city square. They didn't feel bad, refusing his invitation. His status wasn't that sophisticated, unlike Avram, that the angels did not feel justified to ignore his request. He begged them. So in the end, they accepted. They turned his way and entered his house. He made a feast for them because it was Pesach, and he had learned from Avram to keep the mitzvahs. He baked matzot, and they ate. The angels asked Lot about the people of Sodom and the other 4 cities, and Lot told them the truth. They tried to offer excuses for their behavior. They had not yet gone to bed when the townspeople, the wicked people of Sodom, surrounded the house, led by young and followed by the old, which already says what kind of society it is, where the young run in front of the old. All of the people from every quarter of the town. Even though it was clear that the people had come to do evil to the guests, no one in the entire city protested. They called out to Lot and said, where are the people? Bring them out. As Rashi says, when the Torah uses the words, we'll know them, Rashi says, we're going to rape them. Lot went out to them, to the entrance, and closed the door behind them. He said, I beg you, do not commit such a wrong. And here Lot doesn't really act like the most decent fellow. He's like, you know what, don't rape the men. I'll bring you my daughters, and you can do whatever you want. I'm responsible for their safety, the men, but my daughters you can violate, which is okay. But they said to Lot, get out of the way, we don't want your daughters, we want the guests. Then they said to each other, look, he wants to protect the strangers, but he himself's a stranger. This one came as a to just stay by us, and now he's a judge. They turned to him and said, now we'll deal with you worse than with them. They pressed hard against Lot, and they came towards the door to break it down. The angels inside stretched out their hands, pulled Lot towards themselves into the house, closed the door. Miraculously, they then struck the people who were at the entrance with blindness, beginning with the young, who were the instigators, and followed by the old. And people now had no idea where the entrance was. The men inside said to Lot, can you excuse their behavior anymore? Who else do you have in the city besides your wife and 2 daughters who are with you in this house? A son-in-law, grandsons, granddaughters, anyone you have in your city, get out, get them out. Because we're about to destroy this place. Hashem's heard the outcry, and Hashem has sent us to destroy it. Lot had 2 married daughters who lived elsewhere in the cities, and he also had 2 engaged to be married daughters who lived at home. These daughters he actually offered for rape. He went out and spoke to his son-in-laws and daughters' fiancés and said, get up and leave this place, for God is about to destroy the city. But in the eyes of all these guys, he thought he was joking. Although they had arrived the previous evening, the angels waited until the morning to rescue Lot and overturn the city, since it was unsafe for Lot to travel at night. As dawn was breaking, the angels urged Lot and said, get up, take your wife and 2 daughters who are here, otherwise you'll be destroyed together with everybody else. But he lingered because he wanted to salvage whatever he can. So out of God's compassion to him, the men schlepped him and his wife and 2 daughters by the hand, led them out, and left them at the outskirts of the city. When they had led them out, the angel who was in charge of the mission of saving him said, forget about belongings. Run for your life. Do not look back. Don't stop anywhere in this plain. You are as deserving of annihilation as they. It's only in Avram's merit that you are saved, so that it would not be proper for you to witness their destruction because you're as deserving of it. Go to Avram, who's living in the hills. Otherwise, you'll be obliterated with everybody else. Lot said to them, oh God, no. If I found favor in your eyes and in your incredible kindness, I cannot escape to the mountains where Avram lives, lest an evil stigma cling to me and I will be judged worthy of dying compared to him. I was considered righteous compared to the people of Sodom, not compared to Avram. Please, there's this town called Bela, which you're supposed to destroy, but it's a newer city than the other 5 cities. It's 1 year less. The other cities were 52 years old since the dispersion and the Tower of Babel. This is only 51 years old, so please let me flee it. It's smaller and less populous. Do you mind sparing it? What's interesting, as we'll read yesterday, is that they do, which is kind of fascinating because Avram wasn't able to save any of the cities, and Lot was. What's your thoughts about that? Have a great day.
Come on. Trying to get this thing to change. All right. Parsha points with Rabbi Epstein for Tuesday.
Parsha points, Vayeira, Tuesday. Lot. What an interesting character. He's the original off the derech, rebel. His father died for professing the oneness of Hashem. His uncle was the tzaddik, and he was good as long as he stayed with him. He still remembered all those lessons about community and hospitality, to great personal peril. Separated from Abraham, thinking he could do it on his own is what gets him in trouble. Sacrificing his own family for his personal version of ethics. Stay with Abraham, the tzaddik, or you'll make a mess of things.
Shalom Alechem, Parashat Vayeira Shlishi. Over here, the Malachim come to Lot. The Zohar explains that Lot saw them and right away felt the Or HaShechina on top of them. He saw the Or HaShechina, the light of the Shechina on top of them, and therefore invited them. He invited them because of that, says the Zohar. And the Zohar explains that that's why it says over here, Vayomer Inena Adonai. He calls them in the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because he felt the Shekhinah on top of them. It's very strange. Lot was able to feel the Shekhinah, and Avraham Avinu didn't know anything about it. They came beforehand to Avraham Avinu, and he thought that they were regular people. He didn't see that light of the Shekhinah. Only Lot can see it. Avraham Avinu missed it. Could be a very interesting idea. It's known, it's brought down in Rashi and Chazal, that on top of the tent of Sarah Imenu was constantly Anan, a cloud, the glory cloud. It was such a cloud, not regular rain cloud, it was the cloud of the Shekhinah. The Shekhinah was there constantly on top of the Oel Sarah. And therefore, since the light of the Shekhinah itself was there, and since it was so bright over there, of course, when people come and they have a little bit of Shekhinah on top of them, you're not going to see it over and in a place that has the brightness of Sarah Imenu tent. But when it came to Sodom over there was dark. Any small light of the Shekhinah would shine very much.
All right. Fantastic. Good. We have time today for some more stuff. Rabbi Shlomo Feldman with a Parsha Minute for Tuesday.
Welcome back to Parsha in a minute. In today's Chumash, the city of Sodom is going to be destroyed by God. But before doing so, God has sent an angel to rescue Avram's nephew, Lot, from the city of Sodom. Lot was hesitant. He didn't want to leave all of his money behind. But the angel told him, it's already a big deal that we're saving your life over here. And you're worried about your money right now? The biggest lesson for us is we need to celebrate life itself. We need to be thankful every single day that God gives us life. When's the last time you celebrated the fact that you're alive right now? We can't take anything for granted. Celebrate the fact that you're alive. And anything on top of that is even greater. It's so amazing. Celebrate that too. When you get into this mode of gratitude, being thankful for everything you have, you'll live a happier life.
Okay, I can do that. And now, let's see. Got some choices today. How about Rabbi Wilhelm?
All right, Shalom Aleichem, everybody, and welcome. We're here with a good chaver, Joel Polak, came to visit us over here in Las Vegas, and a good davach, first of all. And I want to share this week's Parsha video with Joel. This week's upcoming Parsha is the Parsha of Vayeira. And right in the beginning of the Parsha, Hashem sends 3 malachim to appear to Avram Avinu. And there's a lot spoken about the 3 malachim. The Medrash says that each one of them was dressed different. One was dressed like a desert man, one was dressed like a sailor, the other one was dressed, and they were symbolic for the 3 parts of the world that Avram, everything has to go through the tzaddik Avram, all the blessings of the world come through the tzaddik. That's why it was symbolic in how they were dressed. Anyways, why were the 3 malachim? One to come heal Sarah, Avraham Avinu. The second one to tell the good news that Sarah will have a child. And the third one to come to turn over Sodom. So all the many commentaries ask, I understand that the 2 first ones have to come to Avraham Avinu, to heal Avraham, and to tell Sarah the good news, they have to come there. But why does the one who have to come turn over Sodom have to come to Avraham Avinu? Shouldn't he go straight to Sodom? What's the stop of it? And the answer is given a very interesting answer. The answer is given when the Malach got his job. He looked at his paper. Okay, I have to go to Sodom. He says, "Oh, what's wrong with Sodom? What's wrong with Sodom is they're evil people and we have to punish them." So the Malach says, "What do you want from them? That's the nature. People stumble. People do a lot of things because there's a terrible Yitzhahara. It's not. They don't deserve such punishment." So Hashem says, "Please go see go look at a righteous person. Go look at an Avram Avinu, and you see how Avram responds and how he overcomes all challenges in the world, and then you'll know how bad Sodom is." So he had to go through Avram Avinu to see the righteousness of how Avram Avinu behaved, and then only then he was able to realize how bad Sodom was. Now, there is a very beautiful pshat. When the Malachim come to Avram Avinu, it says 3 different terms of how they were present there. In the beginning, it says Avram Avinu sees Mitzavim Olav. They're standing on him. Wow, he sees the Malachim standing on him. Afterwards, it says Vayoretz L'krasam. He runs towards them. They're not anymore on top of him. He's running towards them. And then it says, Hu Oimed Aleim. He's serving them and he's on top of them. 3 different expressions. The beginning is they're on top of him. Then he's running towards them. And then he's on top of them. What happened? So one of the Hasidic masters says a beautiful shot. He says, in the beginning, the Malachim are always coming down, descending down from heaven. They're always on top of us. But as we start doing the mitzvahs, and in this case, Avram Avinu started getting ready to do mitzvahs, when you have the commitment to want to do the mitzvah, it's an even playing field. Avram Avinu is Vayoretz, will crush them. When Avram Avinu does the mitzvah, Hu Oimed Haleim, he's even greater than a Malach. We have the power to, when we do a mitzvah, to be even greater than a Malach. A Malach does what he's told to do, and that's it. He doesn't go through, it doesn't change. We, because of our challenges that we have, and yet if we do a mitzvah, we're greater than a Malach, so much so that Hu Oimed Aleim, we stand on the Malach. Beautiful.
All right, fantastic. And that's going to take us to Rabbi Zilberstein.
As I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the week, that we're in the bar mitzvah mode. We have 2 grandsons bar mitzvah this week. So I want to share with you a little synopsis, part of the speech that the bar mitzvah boy made. And this is very relevant to all of us. not just a speech, but there's some very practical ramifications. And I'll tell you soon what I mean. But before that, let us all say thank you to Hashem for all the miracles. General, Eretz Yisrael, Mizmor l'soida rila adonu kol ha'artz ibdes adonu v'simchu bo lefanav v'nono d'uke adonu elim hu asonu v'lo enachna amo v'tzeh marisoi bo yishor b'soida chatzoresi b'sila hoidu levoch shmoi ki tov adonu le'elam chazdo v'yaddo v'odor emunasoi. And let us give some tzedakah. And let's do it together, which has the greatest power. Now, a quick question. What is the first mitzvah that a bar mitzvah boy has to do? A boy turns 13, he has to do the first mitzvah. Usually the answer will be, obviously, it's putting out the tefillin. Friends, no. The first mitzvah that is bar mitzvah boy has to do when he turned 13 is say the Shema the night, because the way God created the world, Vayi erev, Vayi voiker, it was night and then day. So he turns 13 as soon as it's night. So at night there's a mitzvah of saying Shema. We have to recite the Shema twice a day, once in the morning, once at night. But the night really comes before the morning. But here is a direct connection between the Shema and the Tefillin, because the mitzvah of the Tefillin is in Shema. Ukshartom la'ois al yodecha, you will bind it as a sign on your hand, v'hoya l'toitofos bein einecha, and they shall be for a reminder between the eyes. So that's the mitzvah of tefillin. So we know the mitzvah of tefillin. First we put it on the left arm. That is, if you're a righty. If you're a leftist, then you put it on the right hand. Because we put it on the weaker hand. Yadcha, yadkeya, the weak hand. And then we put it on the head. We say the first blessing, or the one blessing, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvos v'tzvanu l'niach tefillin, that we commanded us, sanctified us with the mitzvah of putting on tefillin. Most people do not make a second blessing on the tefillin for the head, which is a lengthy discussion, the halachic opinions. Do we have to make a second bracha? We don't make a second bracha. Most people do not. Some do. But here is a question. What happens if for whatever reason you only have one of them? Either you only have the one for the arm, or you have only the one for the head. Whatever the circumstances are is irrelevant. That's all the person has. Should he put it on? Is it considered a mitzvah? Is it considered a half a mitzvah? No, we're not supposed to do half a mitzvahs. I don't know if it's a comparison, but if you have a half a mezuzah, are you going to put it on? It's a half a mitzvah. Or if a person, God forbid, doesn't have a left arm, either by birth or an accident, still have to put on the one for the head. Really, the question is the hand tefillin and the head tefillin considered one mitzvah or two separate commandments? If it's one commandment, then we don't do no half a mitzvahs. If it's two separate commandments, but they just tied together, they're done at the same time, then it's obvious that two separate mitzvahs, just like usually we put on a talis and then the tefillin, we can put on tefillin without the talis, and we can put on the talis without the tefillin. So the Rebbe points out, when we look in the verse, we see the verse makes a distinction between the one for the hand, for the arm, and the one for the head. Which says, "Ukshartom la'ois al yodecha," you should bind it on your arm, and v'hoya l'toitofos bein einecha, and they should be as a reminder on your head. So there's two things. There is binding and a reminder. So obviously from the pasuk itself, it's two separate mitzvahs. Either way, my friends, put them on.
I agree. All right. Are you ready now for Tehillim? We are now going to say Tehillim, chapters 23 and 124.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא אחסר, בינוס תשע, ירביצני, על מי מנוחוס ינהלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני במעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגיא צלמובס, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני, כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
All right, Tanya for the day. I might have to pop it in. I made a mistake earlier, and I don't want to do that again. So we'll keep a quick eye open.
And your thoughts for the 13th of Mar Cheshvan. The Talmud speaks in the current tense. Omer Rabbah. Rabbah says. Why isn't it Rabbah said? I mean, he said it centuries ago. Because when we're studying the teachings of Rabbah and all those whose lives were only about their spiritual message, and when we're saying it now, when we're studying their teachings, following their guidance, they are saying it now. They're alive within our thoughts, our love, and our practice.
Thank you for joining Tanya in 5. Today's lesson for the 13th of Cheshvan. We continue in the 27th letter of Igeres HaKodesh. This letter is written to the Hasidim in the Holy Land of Israel who felt have a great blow in the fact that their Rebbe, their righteous leader, has passed away, Reb Mendel Haradoker, and he is writing to console these Hasidim. We spoke about previously that a righteous person leaves us life. What is his life? His life is the faith in God. Faith doesn't mean the belief in God, but it means the oneness of God in his life and the love and awe of God. And through his ruach level of his soul, the spirit level of his soul, he imbues us with that and nurtures our soul with faith, love, and awe of God. And further, he protects us also from negative influences from the world at large. The Alter Rebbe continues in today's class that this is the meaning of the statement of the sacred Zohar, that it says that when a tzaddik, a righteous person, departs, he is to be found in all worlds more than in his lifetime. Now, of course, that he's found in the spiritual realms above, that makes sense that he's found there more. But this means that he is not just found there more, but in this world, the world of Asiyah, the world of action, that he is found in this world even more so. How's that possible? I mean, after all, he isn't here physically. His soul, yes, but in what manner? Well, because the actions keep growing in the second degree from the light that's been implanted by his soul into the successive generations. In other words, he has implanted in his followers such a degree of devotion, the faith and the love and awe of God after his passing, that it actually becomes greater upon his passing, after his passing, than it was in his lifetime, meaning that his soul is still radiating to this earth, down here in the Holy Land, where specifically where Mendel HaRadakar lived and the Chassidim lived then, but also beyond his confines and restrictions of where he lived, but even in outside places. And even to us, as the Alter Rebbe says, to those who follow his holy path. In other words, that he is to be found, he's more accessible. In other words, his guidance, his blessings in the life of a follower is greater than even when he was physically alive. This, the Alter Rebbe says, is all in reference to heavenly matters. In other words, that we are imbued with the faith, love, and awe of God from his ruach level of the neshama. But as for mundane matters, also it says explicitly in the Zohar that tzaddikim, the righteous, they shield the world, and after their death they do so even more than they did during their lifetime. As it says, if it were not for their prayers of the righteous, the world would not be able to endure for a single moment. So who gets this? All this blessing? Well, whoever's closer to the service of God, living with God, and living with that righteous individual, meaning in the lifetime of that righteous individual, the more that person lived following that path of the righteous tzaddik, he will have precedence in the blessing when he passes away. So what we have over here is in our divine service of God, that even after a righteous person has passed away, he is to be found, accessible, to have guidance, even more so than when he was physically alive in this world. And when it comes to mundane matters, likewise, he is protecting us even in a greater manner. For parenthetically, in conclusion, for us Chassidim of our dear Rebbe, we see after many, many years of his physical passing from this world, that Chabad Lubavitch has grown immensely, even more so than when he was physically alive. Why is that? Because his soul is imbuing our souls. Perhaps us that are learning right now Tanya didn't even see the Rebbe in your lifetime, and nonetheless you're still being inspired by his teachings, by his message, and as we learn over here, by his very soul. And that is Tanya in 5. Thank you for joining.
All right. Did you keep up with that? Sefer HaMitzvos of the Rambam next.
No, it's not impossible that Rebbe did say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam. My Rebbe so desires, I'm not busy or too tired. When I learn Rambam connected, I remain, I am a link in the Rebbe's golden chain.
All right. Class number 248.
We continue to discuss today negative mitzvah 250, which is the prohibition to cheat in our business transactions. And as we defined it yesterday, cheating means overcharging or underpaying by a sixth or more than the market price of the object. Now, although as a rule this applies to every single type of sale, the sages have derived that there are 4 exceptions to the rule. When selling real estate, when selling slaves, when selling documents or IOU notes, and when selling consecrated property, things that have been made holy to the temple, there, ona'ah, these laws do not apply. Which means even if a person sold something worth $1 for $1,000, or he paid $1 for something worth $1,000, the transaction is valid and the object has changed hands. Additionally, the Rambam tells us that if a person is transparent and upfront about what he's doing, there's no problem in overcharging. So for example, a guy says, hey, listen, I bought this for $5 and I'm charging you $25 for it. No problem. If the guy agrees to pay $25, the transaction is valid and the object changes hands.
Baruch Hashem, it is day number 248 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs. And in the 3 chapters a day of Mishnah Torah, we're continuing in Hilchos Geneva, that's the loss of theft, chapters 4, 5, and 6. And we covered the prohibition against theft itself, as well as the mitzvah for how to deal with the thief. We have today some mitzvahs that are related to theft. Positive Commandment 208 is the obligation to use just or righteous weights and measures. That means that when you do business and something is weighed or measured, or let's say surveying land, whatever it is, it has to be done accurately. It shouldn't be done in a way that will cheat or swindle anybody. Okay, so that's one mitzvah for today. Negative Commandment 271 is the prohibition against using inaccurate, unjust weights or measures or whatever it might be that would cause a dishonest business transaction to take place. And not even if it's done maliciously, just doing it sort of haphazardly, making a guesstimate. That's part of this prohibition. If you say, I'm selling you a pound of ground beef, then it really has to be weighed, a pound of ground beef. Okay. And then Negative Commandment 272. This is a very interesting prohibition. And this is the prohibition against maintaining unjust weights and measures. What does that mean? It means even having it in your house. You just have it. It's just for fun. It's a museum piece. We don't use it. It is prohibited to have inaccurate, unjust weights and measures, even if you don't intend on using it. Just having it is a prohibition. And this is not merely, we have often rabbinic enactments that make a fence around the Torah, where the rabbis will make an extra decree to keep us away from a prohibition. This is not what this is. This is actually a specific biblical prohibition. This is one of the 613 commandments. It's one of the 365 prohibitions. You know how that breaks down, right? 613 commandments breaks down into 248 positives and 365 negatives. So one of the 365 negatives is even possessing these inaccurate weights and measures, even if you don't use it. Okay, so those are our mitzvahs for today. We will see you for more tomorrow, God willing.
The essence of our soul, what we call the yechida, meaning the oneness, emerges through overcoming tests and obstacles. When the essence, the etzem, is revealed, the animal soul unveils its inherent godliness. Remember, we have two souls. We have a godly soul and an animal soul. This finds expression in the intensity in which one fulfills Torah and mitzvahs, with an inner enthusiasm, with a sense of great delight, and a tremendous pleasure in serving Hashem. Furthermore, all worldly matters are no longer obstacles to Hashem, because to yourself, because yes and no are absolutely equal. The delight in and appetite for material things are gone. The Rebbe writes this in HaYom Yom. By overcoming life's tests, we graduate from galut, exile, and achieve our personal Geulah, redemption. Everything in life becomes an opportunity for growth, and there are no longer any obstacles, only challenges to spur us on. Big talk. Here's what Shmuel Tzvi has to say. Yeah, I know. It's slow. I'm sorry.
How big is God? Well, the concept of big is relative to us, and God is on a different scale completely. So it's not even proper to even say how big is God, considering how tiny we really are in comparison to Him, and irrelevant in size. Heard an interesting rabbi say, God is at least as big as the universe. And it's a nice way to put it, but I would say He's bigger, obviously. He's bigger than the universe. He's beyond infinitely big. Because the fact that the universe is created by Him and is recreated by Him at every moment means He fills every fiber and every volume, every piece of space of the universe, and causes it to exist. So He's beyond infinitely greater in size than the universe. And just if you look at these videos or these scales of the universe compared to, and they zoom so fast, and obviously they're not to scale, and they're not realistic, but just to give us an understanding of the vastness of the universe, makes us realize how irrelevant the universe is in comparison to Hashem, and how small we are in comparison to Hashem. But yet He gives us the Torah and desires us. That is interesting. That He still, nonetheless, as tiny as we are, our deeds are infinite, and our deeds unite us with Him. God bless you all.
So let us greet Him and come back home, finally home, in the place where we belong. It's been so long that we've been gone, so lost and alone, scattered all across the globe.
All right, let's bring some heaven down to earth. There are times to bend like a reed in the wind, and there are times to act as a stubborn wall against the tide. These are the things that lie at the periphery of life. Then every "I hold like this" and "my opinion is" stands in the way of harmony and peace. Every such "I" is the very root and source of evil. But when it comes to matters that touch the purpose for which you were placed in this world, that's when you have to be an immovable wall. That's when you have to say, "Oh, on this I'm not gonna budge." That I is not evil. That's an I fulfilling the purpose for which you were given an I. Wow. Sometimes Rabbi Freeman just blows me away with his explanation of Chassidus. All right, you want to come talk to me about that more? Any of the Actors Rabbis groups at Clubhouse, Blue Sky Clubhouse, Discord, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube. Email me at theactorsrabbi@gmail.com or go to theactorsrabbi.com and sign up for life coaching services. Or go to breakfastwithelli.live/mail and sign up for our weekly Shabbos with Ellie newsletter. Do it today. All right, let's make an after bracha. Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai haolamim. All right. Well, we have come to another end of our broadcast today. Anybody remember that? That's right. All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to my Patreon sponsors, Pest Pro Ridal, Tarzane Orchids, Dina D Design, Bracha Biederman, Reza Musavi, Wendy Cohen, David, who is learning in yeshiva in Chabad now in New York City, and our anonymous donor. You guys are the rock and source of everything that we have. And it is because of your donations that we are here. So thank you very much. If you'd like to become one of our donors, scan this handy QR code that you see on your screen. Why do I have a little dot there? Scan the handy QR code that you see on the screen, which will take you to breakfastwithelli.live/support or patreon.com/theactorsrabbi. Or you can go to our virtual tip jar, breakfastwithelli.live/tip jar, for more options on how to donate to Breakfast with Ellie. And that includes Cash App. Yeah, it's there. Let me know if you have any problems. All right. I don't think there should be, but that's it. Every donation goes immediately to paying our expenses. It goes into my PayPal account, and it goes to paying expenses for this show. Thank you for being here. It is the 13th day of Cheshvan. I'm going into the city tonight. We're going to have dinner at Mr. Broadway. I'm so excited. Stay vigilant, everybody. Go out and vote. No matter who you're voting for, go out and vote. If you don't vote, you give it to the other guy. That's just how I see things. If you don't vote, you give it to the other guy automatically. So make sure you do that. Yes, I voted. I did. I did it by absentee ballot. I did it by mail. I know. Certain people don't like that, but tough luck on them. We've been doing it for years, and it seems to work just fine. All right. I got a good one for you. Al tidag. Don't be afraid. Don't worry. Tidag, adaiga is a worry. Al tidag. Shai Weiner has a video, and I thought that would be good. Don't worry. Everything is in the hands of Hashem. No matter what the outcome of today's election in all the major cities that are having elections today, HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. So even if it looks dire, even if it looks like the wrong person won, the candidate that you didn't want to be in office won, Hashem runs the world, and it'll all be fine. It really will. So go out and do something nice, something good for someone today. Vote. In the words of Rabbi Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close, and Hashem will draw you close to him. Make it a great and glorious day. Be the reason someone smiles. See you tomorrow, God willing. Thanks for being here. Al tidag. Don't worry. Be happy. And I'm sure it'll start sometime in the near future.
אין ייאוש בעולם, תאמין ואל תלך לשם. אף אחד לא מושלם, אל תשכח שגם אתה רק בן אדם. ויש תקווה, ויש תשובה. זה הזמן לנסות, גם כשבפנים אתה רוצה לבכות. תן ללב את הכוחות, ולרוח לייבש את הדמעות. כי יש תקווה, ויש תשובה. אל תדאג כי הוא תמיד איתך, השם שומר את דרכך. תמתח מפרשים גם אם הרוח עזבה, בתוך כל החושך האור לא קבע. תאמין שעוד נגיע, הביתה בבטחה. אין ייאוש בעולם, גם בלילות כשאתה לא נרדם. כל זה לא לחינם, 7 פעמים צדיק נופל וקם. לי יש תקווה ויש תשובה. תמיד אפשר לעלות, תמיד אפשר למצוא מסילות. כשיהיה רגוע הרוחות, כשהגלים סוף סוף יגיעו אל החוף. לי יש תקווה ויש תשובה. אל תדאג כי הוא תמיד איתך, השם שומר את דרכך. תמתח מפרשים גם אם הרוח עזבה, בתוך כל החושך האור לא קבע. תאמין שעוד נגיע, הביתה בבטחה. אל תדאג כי הוא תמיד איתך, השם שומר את דרכך. תמתח מפרשים גם אם הרוח עזבה, בתוך כל החושך האור לא קבע. תאמין שעוד נגיע, הביתה בבטחה.
ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים לכולם. ושבו בנים לכולם. ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים לכולם. ושבו בנים לכולם. ושבו בנים, ושבו בנים, ושבו